everything that you mentioned today, whether you're talking about the P part of the model or the H part of the model in terms of purchasing or hiring, tends to go back to this concept of ownership and why it's important for us to own our own systems and support our own
Hmm.
systems,
Hmm.
right? Because, to change the perceptions of an entire group of people, right? One, a group of people that you don't belong to in terms of, in America, in terms of racially, right? But then even as hard it is to change the group of people that you belong to in terms of their mindsets, their biases as well. It
Hmm.
seems like such a daunting task to do, but it's something that is so necessary to see happen. You know what I mean? So like the only way that we're going to get over this purchasing problem and this hiring problem long term, meaning generationally, is for us to create our own systems. Would you agree with that, or do you agree with that with some type of caveat?
I agree in both, right? So we have to create our own businesses because we have a massive gap of them. We're missing 1.4 million of them. Like we have to do that, right? And we're missing all the jobs associated with that. And by the way, Black businesses tend to hire the most non-Black people, right? So we are the most diverse businesses by definition, right? Anywhere. So I mean, it's a win-win-win in every category. We absolutely need to have more Black businesses on the order of a million more, right? Without question. And we absolutely need to have more people represented on corporate and business and organizational payrolls, because those are often great training grounds to then become entrepreneurs, right? You worked and you trained and you grew in that industry, and now you have a team around you. You can put resources behind you. Now you can become part of the supply chain. We need to have both of these things happening, right, at the same time. I think the consequence of having more Black enterprise is that you have to deal with obviously a lot less of the bias that we are confronted with, right? And I think that you have to spend a lot less time trying to justify or trying to navigate very treacherous waters when you talking about differences in understanding of racial positions and cultural belief systems and all these kind of things, right? We are swimming in a sea of anti-Black bias and automatic white preference, right? So we've got to do both at the same time. What I'm saying is we need to be helping ourselves, and we need to be showing others who are not us how they can be helpful. Because there are people who say that they want to be helpful and they say they don't know how, right? And what I'm saying is, if you really want to be able to turbocharge this, let's utilize your supply chain to do more business. If you don't want to, then I get that. And that's between you and your shareholders, and that's between you and your consumers, right? If your consumers are okay with that, I assume that that's a good move for you. They might not be. If your shareholders are okay with that, and there's endless studies we can talk about that talk about how your returns are increased when you have more people in the room. And it's not because you have more people in the room, it's you have the brilliance from those other groups in the room, not just some people sitting on the stoop, right? You can have 35% better performance, industry leading performance. If you have that conversation with shareholders, they might not care how you feel about Black people. They might perceive that they're just losing money by not having this terrific talent there. And that's the case that I'm trying to make for the people who are most willing, right? So it's kind of like a both and, right? We need to be demanding it because we're certainly investing in these companies in terms of doing business with it. And we're getting very little in return. And I'm saying what we measure as progress is, are they creating jobs in our communities? Are they doing business with our businesses? Are we creating more businesses, and are we providing more capital? If we are doing that, then we are having impact. If they are not doing that, then it's a shiny object to me. And you can substitute any business and any person and any leader into that very statement. You are either doing PhD and creating jobs and businesses and providing capital, or you are not.
Love it. Yeah, yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And then, making sure that there are consequences for those who are
Absolutely.
not doing it, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's where you have to get that community belief and trust to, to make that happen, at a very large scale.